You got to go a bit further to get that win, which means you got to get through a lot more different sort of skill sets as well. And it also means we're going to get more, longer matches, which is always nice with the crazy matches we have lined up.
More skill sets.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be pretty big in this one when you're against someone like Malice, who can really abuse players that have strong weaknesses. You can sort of grind them down in a longer matchup, but momentum is going to be super important. But we'll see who opens up the strongest. Protects are going to be starting us off once the players have got the rolls in. Both players protect a map to start off. The loser of the roll protects first, I believe. And then it goes into 2 bans each. So really, that protect is going to be very important for players that have a very particularly strong skill set. With some of the crazy gimmick maps you have here and some of those mechanics maps being nearly 9 stars in mechanical difficulty, you can keep one of those in your back pocket and bring it out when you're in a bit of a spot of bother.
Right, we see the first ban here coming from fiaee.
All right.
The Hard Rock 1, no surprise, MALISZEWSKI, probably the best Hard Rock tech player in the world. So seeing a tech map a little bit more on the slider aim side on that Hard Rock pool being banned immediately, not a surprise at all.
No, not surprised to see that gone. Raikozen, even when he maps a lot of the aim stuff, it is quite technical, and those high SVs are always present. So get that out of here. I wonder what the protect was then. If we get into the bans, perhaps the protects have already been, but
okay. Immediately also United being banned by MALISZEWSKI. I don't think that's necessarily a strength of fiaee, but more so a weakness of MALISZEWSKI. So any player that's actually watching this, either at home, backstage, that's exactly what we talked about earlier, where it's the high-end speed, the very, very top end of DT, just getting that out of the pool for MALISZEWSKI, very important, because that's like the exact weakness he holds, is like the very, very high AR, very, very high-end speed, high-end mechanics that a couple of the players here, like Eric, like Emrek, obviously, have extreme specialties in. So that's not a surprise also.
No, not at all. Also, quick correction, my apologies, there are no protects in this matchup, so it is just bans. My bad. So 2 bans each for both players. We're going to get the next set in a moment. And with that Hard Rock 1 ban from fiaee coming in, I wonder if we're going to be seeing something like maybe a No More Floor. Signal is another incredibly complex high SV tech map that has all of the trimmings. One of the hardest maps in the pool, according to Bartek, who pulled this. That one is going to be a very strong map, you think, for Malice. But fiaee has done such good work on no mod tech in the past. Maybe he'll try his chances on that one, or leave it open for a potential 50-50. Who knows?
Yeah, just a small observation. If there's 2 bans, this pool has 14 maps. So if there's 2 bans each, then every map in the pool is going to be played if the match goes to tiebreaker, which is important because a lot of the people in this tournament have their specialty skill sets, or that have the stuff that they actually relied on to qualify. So if the match gets long and they exhaust those skill sets, what are they going to pick? Because the pool has a little bit of control. Obviously, there's 2 KTG maps, including one on your song. But if you're let's say a very, very competent speed player, you have 3 maps. If people ban you, then you have 1 map, roughly. Imagine people ban United and everything will freeze. You get to play Super Nuka World, and then what happens? Then what? What are you going to play? My Dearest Nightmare? That has a bunch of other elements. Or what are you going to play? Nomad 2, but that one is also fairly technical and not that speedy. So everybody that makes it to a longer match, which I think will happen at some point in this tournament, maybe right here, will have to be competent at every single skill set in this pool besides the very limited bans they have. So if you're looking for that longer match, you gotta ban the stuff that you absolutely don't want. You don't ever want to play, I think, because if you play it and people get the information that you're really bad at it, or not that good at it, then people will abuse you over the course of the tournament, and that obviously will not be very good. So.
Oh. All right, so we'll run it back. There is protects, and we've had the first one in. So we're starting off the bands again real quick. So we're starting off fresh. fiaee protects. Was that number 3?
Number 3.
Just heard that from Food?
I'm not hearing production on my headset. I just have a mic.
Oh, I'll have to fill you in then. I can hear Food on my side. Might be a thing we have to turn around, but I'm not sure which one's which.
You know, Dooms, before we get the graphics in, I just want to say we had the pleasure and the misfortune of getting the first match, because this is the one with the most hiccups, the one with the most delays, the one with the most like tests of production. So obviously, if you're at home, if you're at COE, this sort of stuff happens every time. But as the tournament goes on, as production gets a little bit more experience with whatever they're working on that's newer for this year, for this iteration, stuff will get and stuff will flow a lot more smoothly and will be a lot better. So have a little bit of patience. Obviously, from the first match on, it just gets better. So patience, hold on to your seat, and we will be very shortly getting into the match.
Yep. We're walking, so the rest of the tournament can run.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shout out to the production team though, they are literally working tirelessly for this and making it work. MALISZEWSKI has protected No Mod 4.
Ooh.
So No Mod 4, there is no escape from the No Mod tech for fiaee here. But like I said, I do think fiaee can do bits on that map. Although it is incredibly hard though. He is going to have to challenge Malice on that, you'd think, at some point. And the band's coming in real quick. There we go. Bardock 1, DT1, banned as you were, but the second bands, we're looking at Hidden 1 for fiaee, and then DT2 for MALISZEWSKI.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So MALISZEWSKI banning the 2 more speedy DTs and leaving everything in freeze open in case fiaee wants to explore that option. But the immediate option that he's going to go for is Hidden 2, the reading pick. So slightly low AR, mapped by Happy 30, an older style mapper, and it's not necessarily the oldest style map. However, it is a very tough sort of control / reading pick with a little bit of like flow, a little bit of space triples, and a definite reading element that MALISZEWSKI is not foreign to. However, fiaee is also extremely good at. So let's see what happens.
Let's see.
Both the players ready.
Oh yeah. Hope you like. It is time. Hidden 2 Crescendo, mapped by Happy 30, one of the original mappers of like the more sort of esoteric control style. And this map is actually a remap of one of his classic maps from, I believe it was from 2009. Very, very early on, so nearly 16 years on, remapping it, and it is essentially quite similar to his old map. Low BPM, about 170 something BPM, a lot of spaced bursts and like spaced triples and things like that. A lot of 1-4 spaced aim on that ARA on a fairly high SR for the style. So, and there's a lot of overlaps as well. So you have those overlaps you have to deal with, but it's AR8, both these two. I do think when it comes to just AR8 in general, are pretty confident, but it's on this style with all that little bits of aim you have to deal with that make it a challenge. And playing Hidden into MALISZEWSKI is always a risk because he's so well known for his Hidden.
It's a risk, but anything in this match is going to be a risk. You just got to send it. You just got to shoot it, because shoot or shoot. And you're here, you're at COE, you qualified seed 16, you have to face probably the biggest demon in the tournament scene. But you just gotta go forward and charge on bravely. I believe the players are getting into the map as the screen.
Oh, I think the room kind of coughed there, so we're gonna go through it again. Full start. But I think we're almost about ready to go, Dada. It is time. Just getting something sorted here. I think fiaee's having a small tech issue, so just going to get that sorted before we get into this one. Of course, today is a packed day of matches here in the COE 1v1 tournament. Matches running all day. This is, of course, the very first one. Just getting things all tightened up for the day. But we are running all the way until late. I think there's matches almost every 1.5 hours or 1 hour 15. It's like bang, bang, bang all the way through until late tonight. So I hope you guys get your popcorn. I hope you guys get your time set up. Get your drinks on the go. Because there are so many good matchups just in the round of 16. And of course, the quarterfinals are tomorrow all day, and then the semis and the third place match and the grand final happening on the Saturday. So it's all kicking off.
It's all kicking off. All in the same pool, so get pretty familiar with these maps as we're gonna get the first taste of them very, very soon. Meanwhile, everything seems to be proceeding somewhat smoothly in the lobby as I take a peek at both the monitors. But yeah, just fiaee picking that hidden shoe. MALISZEWSKI probably gonna head into his protects or his favorite skill sets of control, like the Mud 3 and the Mud 5 Hard Rock Chew afterwards. Oh, we have a couple of tech issues going on for fiaee, I believe.
It's going to be spicy after not playing for a little bit, going straight into some of that hidden 2. I saw MALISZEWSKI kind of stepped out and he was playing a little bit at one point, trying to keep his warms going on, I suppose. But jumping straight into something like this where it is all about, it's not necessarily about like mechanical skill, of course, it's reading, but it's all about just proper execution and confidence. So honestly, going into it with a bit of a...
You've played a lot of tournaments before, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree that at least out of the skill sets that are easiest to jump into, I think from like a cold or like a bit of a pause, if you're just not used to any AR, just starting off with that low AR, starting off with that reading, getting a little bit of that confidence, because mechanically, not that bad. You don't need to really have like 100% of your mechanics at the ready. You don't need like super speed warm up or have like your aim 100% on point, at least at the start.
Yeah.
So just getting used to that low AR very quickly, and then later on picking the more mechanically intensive maps as you're more warm, as you're a little bit more nervous even, so you get a little bit of that adrenaline going. So at least for stuff like speed, you get a little bit more out of that. But I think, like, would you agree that reading is one of the easiest skill sets to jump into as you're fresh into a match?
I'd say so if you're confident on the AR. I mean, if you're struggling on say AR rate and that and jumping into it, all bets are off. But I think if you are a confident low AR reading player, it is a bit of a comfort blanket to go into something like that. I do agree. And I mean, certainly your time as a tournament player, I know you were very well known for being, you know, a low AR reading player and a hidden player. So I mean, do you think that? Because I certainly do as a reading player. It's you go into it first off, and also with it being something you're confident in, you might think, oh, I've got a good chance to get on this against my opponent. You sort of have that mental goodness as well, knowing that you have a good chance against whoever you're facing on that, and it's also just comfy and nice, and you're not having to just panic trying to deal with, I don't know, AR 10.3 or something.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that? I mean, do you feel that way as a player?
I mean, it's been a while.
It has been a while, but I remember your carries. I remember that.
I have to access like the old memories, but absolutely, like, it's. I think at the end of the day, it's a very big like game of balance between proper strategy of like what you should do in terms of your actual like strategy against your opponent, or like what the optimal moves would be, and what you're actually feeling that day. Because obviously there are certain days where you can't play certain skill sets, or you're feeling really like bad in terms of confidence with like your aim or your speed. You feel a little bit locked up in the fingers, or your aim's a little bit just not flowing properly. So it's tough to properly like balance those two aspects, because you know, in terms of strategy, oh, I am probably better at this than my opponent, so I should pick this, establish momentum, and then go towards the riskier picks. Or, oh, like my opponent is better at this, I'm gonna ban this, and I'm gonna try to adapt to one of my secondary skill sets. That's all stuff that you can do optimally, but it's also all about the feels. It's all about how you feel. How about it's all about the stuff you can't really put into words, but that really affects your confidence, really affects your ability to actually properly convert on that strategy. So at the end of the day, I completely lost the point of the question.
Yeah, I mean, I think you raised a good point there about comfort is so important, and I think that's one of the big issues when players get plopped from their usual setups at home onto like a LAN setup, right? Just I guess to pivot to that, because adjusting to LAN has been a big issue for so many players over the years. We've had quite a few LAN tournaments now, both here at COE and also in other venues, and some players just really struggle if like the table's a little bit lower or the setup's a little bit different. But I think people are starting to get a bit more confident with that now as well, because of the rise maybe of the last couple of years of so many LANs, like nationally and also international ones like this. We've seen people improve at that part of the game better.
Yeah.
But no doubt, one
I
day.
think
Oh no, go on.
the biggest thing at LAN is to properly convert your setup and what you like, and properly translate that to a LAN setup. So things may be different, but what can you do to make things as consistent as possible? What was your specific positions of keyboard or tablet? What was your specific height? Have that stuff either memorized or like have a routine that you can get to that makes it so that you can reliably replicate that on a LAN setup.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't happen, you're going to see a lot of poor aim from tablet positioning being a little bit off and muscle memory just affecting it, or you're going to see a lot of like slight finger locks or tapping technique flubs because of the keyboard not being exactly where it always is. Because at the end of the day, top players, they have a ton of muscle memory that needs to translate to like everyday playing. And when your setup changes, it goes to a LAN, you have a different monitor, a different keyboard, not necessarily a different keyboard, but like a different position of keyboard, different position of tablet, different desk height. Like that stuff affects your muscle memory. And what happens a lot is that you still access the old muscle memories. Old habits die really, really hard. So you're, especially for maps as hard as this, so like Nomad 1 or stuff like Let's Jump, where you have a ton of flow aim, or First Def, or Hidden 1, where you have a lot of the awkwardest, the more awkward aim sections. Like, you're gonna access that old muscle memory. You're gonna have like, you're gonna have to fight it as you have to properly adapt to your new setup. And I think the players that do the best at LAN are the ones that have that routine, that know exactly where their stuff is, because they know exactly like how to test it, how to properly set it up 100% and get it as good as they're possibly going to get it, so that the muscle memory actually goes alongside them instead of fighting against them.
Yeah, I mean, it might sound pedantic. It's like, oh, just click the dots, lol. Just tap the notes. Anyone that's played OSU at like a LAN event, anyone in BYOC probably knows that it takes you ages to be able to get anywhere close to where you were, unless you are like someone who knows exactly sort of the angle everything needs to be or whatnot. The adjustment period is crazy, and it's something you can't really compare to say any other competitive game, I suppose. I mean, I'm not exactly much of like a CS player, but I don't know how long it takes for like a high-level CS player to adjust to a new setup.
We were actually talking about this, I believe, when Yeast concluded, which was 2 days ago. But Yeast had the top 2 players being mouse players, and
oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
What that happened? That happened because, at least one of the theories that we had was, mouse can just be anywhere. You don't have specific mouse positioning. You don't have your preferred wrist position for your pen, and like to actually translate the tablet is a lot harder from your home setup to the LAN environment than just putting your mouse on the mouse pad and just going ham. So a lot of the players in this tournament are mouse players. They're probably gonna have a little bit of an easier time setting up when they're on stage. So like CS players probably have the same thing, where they just warm up a little bit on that environment, go to a deathmatch, go to like an aimbots, and just after a little bit of getting used to just the slight little differences, they can properly translate their muscle memory.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, tablet players have a lot more finicky sort of muscle memory and stuff that they have to replicate almost exactly. So that's the whole absolute positioning versus relative movement thing, where relative movement, the good thing about relative movement, doesn't matter exactly where your mouse is, it's always going to move. If you move it in one direction, it's always going to move in that direction. The good thing about absolute positioning, obviously, is if everything is consistent, everything is going to be 100% consistent, right?
Oh, I was a mouse player for a long time. I've recently switched to tablet a little bit. Don't judge me. But I've noticed trying to play a little bit of tablet on like LAN setups, and good God, it's a nightmare. Compared to like jumping on LANs and playing BYOC as a mouse player, it took me like a day or so to adjust. But adjusting as like playing on like another setup for tablet for me is just night and day. Night and day. So you know what? I totally agree. And I think that's a really good point you raised about Yeast, with it being a lot of the players jumping on. And I guess before Yeast, you didn't get too much time, I guess, to warm up in that one. They set it up a little bit to get like the verification done and go on, get the setup working. But they pretty much jumped on and went.
Yeah.
And you notice, the mouse players did very well there.
There were 4 players on stage. There was 4 setups, and the people had to rotate off the setups. So people had to change every time someone got back in. They had to reestablish that comfort zone, and by the end of the day, even when the top 4 were left, like the mouse players, they had established a little bit more of that that comfort. Meanwhile, the tablet players, stuff changed around, moved around from all the different people that cycled through that setup. And for a site tournament like Yeast, where you have to adapt immediately, I think the mouse players did have that edge.
Yeah, it's like having your sort of aim be completely planted for one, where you don't have to deal with, say, the little stutters in your aim or the shakes in your aim. There's only so much filtering you can do to fix that. So I can see why in a setup where you basically just go plop on the setup and just go, good luck. They did so well there. So yeah, I actually didn't even realize that before you mentioned it. I was watching Yeast, but mouse player strong in Yeast apparently and on LANs. I guess for those who are just joining us at the moment and wondering why there's a little bit of delay, fiaee is having a bit of a technical issue. The lads in production are running around in clockwork trying to sort it out, so apologies for the little bit of the delay. Technical alpha, we're making it work. It's the first game of the entire tournament, so we're making it happen.
Yeah, a little bit of a small hiccup to start. However, once we're going, we get going like an old car.
Oh yeah, you just gotta crank it.
Yeah, it's just a little tough of a start, but once the engine really gets revving, we will be 100% fine.
Oh yeah, you just gotta get the oil going around the engine, get it going, break out the WD-40.
Start it up and just get it going. Out of the corner of my eye, I see there's a little bit of a signal to production about fiaee's setup. A little bit of a signal is literally waving around like this.
The secret signal. Don't give out the secret signal.
Yeah.
You see everyone doing that.
He's
now.
calling Batman. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And as Poon is French and fiaee is also French, they're speaking French. So now I can no longer translate that.
Oh, it's all over. Shout out to that one question in Mind Block. Oh man, that was good fun though. Oh, I love Mind Block. That was on the Tuesday. Check the VODs out for that, by the way.
That was a very fun event. Honestly, I was expecting, since Kynan is here, I was expecting on the voice stuff. I was expecting a Kynan clip because that man is iconic. He's produced some of the most iconic sound bits in OSU history. And while it didn't end up happening, I sure as hell hope you guys get to meet Kynan as well, because he's like an integral part of the early OSU community, especially speed-wise, like one of the establishing players for speed that really paved the way forward. So if you guys find him at the venue, just make sure to say hello and say putain. So
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so good old Keenan. Yeah, one of the original speed gods of the game. I'm sure is still well known for that. Still streams quite a bit actually. You love to see it. You love to see it. Love to see so many names here old and new at the event. So many people I've seen quite a few times over the years, and so many I've seen for the first time. So many people that I've known for years online, and know Osu in different circles. Being able to put faces to the names is great. So it's been lovely.
that was funny. As we have to fill the dead air a little bit, I think MALISZEWSKI's rank was when he originally qualified, but he's now out of the top 50.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he is, isn't he?
And like, isn't that crazy? Because MALISZEWSKI, by all intents and purposes, is like the best tournament player in the current year, the current setup.
Yeah.
Very closely followed by MREC, or at some point surpassed, but they're top 1 and top 2. And you can argue whether one is better, one is worse. They've split their series a lot of the times, but one of them is rank 1, has like a ton of mechanics, endless mechanic potential and like aptitude. The other one has great mechanics on his own right, but doesn't have enough mechanics to keep up with the current meta. Which, isn't it crazy how like that just shot from like 0 to 100? Because back in the day, like you'd have stuff like Shigetora. Shigetora would just would be like rank 1 or very close to rank 1, and why they didn't like playing tournaments 100% of the time, they translated their skill set to tournaments. It was great, fine. Then you'd have someone like Whitecat, and Whitecat also went to tournaments, did well. I don't think was ever like the top 1, but he was very, very good at tournaments, obviously. And then you have MREC, and MREC, he's by all accounts the exception to the current top players, where it's like, hey, you are amazing at tournaments, but a lot of the people in between, like top 1 and top 50, they're no longer like super keen on developing their skill sets for the tournament scene, having like that little more all-rounder sort of environment. They're just specializing a lot into that aim or speed, whatever they're using to climb. And as such, you get people like MALISZEWSKI that have to fan out their skill set that can't keep up farm-wise. And it's interesting because as we end up seeing like a top tournament like this at a LAN environment, we're going to see a lot of ranks that are like, oh, 300, 250, 55, 1,554,
Yeah.
84. Like, these are great players that can qualify to a LAN environment and do really, really well, but because their skill sets have to be so spread out, they can't specialize on the mega farm skill sets, so they can't go as far on the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think that's always been like the thing with tournament players versus solo players, and for the longest time, certainly I know in the UK scene for tourneys, for the longest time a few years ago, we had a lot of very, very good tournament players, but no one really farmed. And what ended up happening was you ended up with some very good all-around players that can play pretty much everything up to a certain level, and then the skill cap drops off.
Yeah.
Whereas, you have solo players who they might really struggle on all but maybe 2 particular skill sets. They might be really good at mechanics, but they sort of struggle on anything ulti or low AR or anything like that, meaning that in tournaments they kind of just get out, they get outplayed over the course of a match when they can only really do a couple of the maps well. But certainly with the top 50 now, I guess the meta for gaining big ranks is a completely different world compared to what you need to do in tournaments, right? Apart from outside of the mechanics maps. But I think we're seeing, I say, a lot more players now say in a 4-digit range who are good enough to do 8-star aim, which is generally where tournaments start to peak in like the open rank or so. You're getting up close to 9 stars now. Some of these maps are nearly 9 stars. But people even at that range can still do those maps decently on a one try, but they can't do the sort of crazy meta stuff you need to do to get 1k PPs left, right, and center. It's a different world. It's a different world. They're starting to split apart more, really.
Back in the day, if you've seen like a graph where it's just like certain skill sets get like a sharper vertex of the polygon. Like back in the day, you used to have a bit more of like a regular polygon where everything had to be like more well-rounded, so you could properly access the big PP maps because they weren't as optimized. Nowadays, it's just like you have to be almost a full point, like line towards one of the vertexes.
Hello?
Hello, Poon.
We finally fixed the issue.
So,
on fiaee's computer, there was... Oh shit, I broke something. On fiaee's computer, there was a very old version of Laser, and since upgrading, he couldn't play multi, so we had to completely reinstall Laser. He's redoing his profile at the moment, and he's gonna join us as soon as possible. And yes, I broke the internet. Give me a second.
Oh my god. Laser bugs. Fixed in Laser.
what wins? 1 GB internet or 1 the Poon? In the meantime, I'm going to quickly grab a drink from the back. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, wait, there's a drink right here.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I asked Najami to bring that.
Oh, mate. It's like Willy Wonka. I just look down and water spawns at my feet. There we go. There you go. You can kick off.
Hold it up.
Oh, go on.
Hydrate.
Oh. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored by the Water Corporation.
The Institute of Water. Underrated, honestly. I gotta say the the world is challenging the production team today, but I think they might be finally fighting back.
Yeah, if the problem really was a version of Laser that wasn't compatible with the current multiplayer setup, then it should be fixed. And out of the corner of my eye, it's restarting. He's adjusting the monitor.
Yeah, I guess fiaee is just getting his profile set back up on the new install. Thank you. Fair play though, I gotta say, I imagine that was a challenge for the production team, but fair play to them, man. They're under pressure, they're making it work.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity to just kind of talk about general things.
Yeah, it was a good time to catch up on the app cost. I think we're going to challenge Shiba this year, mate. I don't know. But yeah, shout out to Sad Shiba, he's chilling. We'll see him on the cast later on, I'm sure. And again, shout out to the production team for that one. I bet that was a challenge. Fair play to you for pulling that one off.
Yeah, you guys have no idea. If you're not at the event, if you're at home just watching, there's so much stuff that they have to worry about. There's an entire production desk across from us at the back of the stage that has like 7 PCs, like a whole thing, and everything on stage is like a little bit more complicated. There's a monitor in front of us that we have to look at that we keep kicking the cable out of. That's like, there's so many things, small things that can go wrong that for the start of it, obviously, they did because, you know, Murphy's Law. But as we head along the tournament, we're going to see a lot less production delays and funny little bugs and version issues and a lot more action. So make sure to stay tuned.
Yep. Well, at least now the 2 lasers are working. Hopefully they will behave. Give them a stern talking to, and hopefully they will behave, the clients. I think fiaee's just finishing up his last setup in his options, get himself ready. I wouldn't be surprised if he could sneak some map in to warm up after that little bit of a delay. I think MALISZEWSKI's been playing a little bit.
MALISZEWSKI probably played that map like 3 times as we were waiting for the production. little giggle. You sneaky devil.
Will that be an error? Sight reads OP and all that. I think just as things may just be about to kick off, let's do a quick recap. Of course, this is the first matchup of the COE 1v1 tournament. Seed number 1, MALISZEWSKI, our reigning, defending COE champion, taking on fiaee, looking to try and make something happen here. We had some very strong results in LAN tournaments this year. He knows exactly what's up. The bans are, of course, already in. We saw fiaee ban the Hard Rock one and the Hidden one, and both of those are kind of aim heavy, but that Hard Rock one more on the sort of techie side, the slider side. It's a Raikoz's map, and that Hidden one being linear, high speed aim, Jones and style, map by Dectopia.
8-star Kamino Kotoba, basically.
Yeah.
And then MALISZEWSKI opting for the 2 very high-end DT speed bans. So if you're just joining us, those are the 2 bans. Both players protected a map. I believe MALISZEWSKI protected Nomad 4. And did you catch fiaee's protect Nomad 3?
I think it was Nomad 3. Not 100%. I think it's Nomad 3. I just caught it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Nomad 4 though is definitely MALISZEWSKI's protect. Nomad 3. Thank you, Poon. It was HD3 protected by fiaee.
HD3, okay. So My Dearest Nightmare protected by fiaee, and very tricky map. Also related to MALISZEWSKI's bans, a faster map, a speedier map at, I think, 230, 232 off the top of my head. So that map being an option for fiaee obviously would be a great option to go for afterwards. I believe fiaee will focus a little bit on the hiddens and try to match MALISZEWSKI nuke for nuke on these maps.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I'm slightly excited that my map has not been banned yet. That Nomad 5, KTG high-end control is a map I think both of these 2 could make great use of, but particularly looking at MALISZEWSKI with the crazy control in that.
I think you're going to see your map a lot, because, or your song a lot, because a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, I don't want to play this skill set specifically, they're going to ban Hard Rock 2 instead. Because Hard Rock 2, more inconsistent, has the precision element, the snaps will be a lot less consistent in a LAN environment. So the control aspect of Hard Rock 2, less consistent, less other ways to say consistent, basically. But Nomad 5, I think a lot of players will find more comfortable, and their finger control will translate better to like that, you know, warm up for 30 minutes and then play sort of environment than Hard Rock 2 with the precision and stuff like that. So
alright. I'll hold tight for that then.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully you see it in this match so we can get you on the couch for it.
Hell yeah. Of course, we do have, it's not just that one as a original song for this one. We also have an original song by Zenji's Whispers of the Deserted is also an original song, the Nomad 2. And that Nomad 2, it's kind of an interesting one because not only is it got that 210 or so streams, but it has quite a bit of awkwardness to it as well. It has quite a few like 1/3 sections in it, if I recall.
It has rhythm awkwardness, it has flow awkwardness. A lot of the patterns have this sort of more technical aspect to them, despite it being at the surface level a normal Nomad 2. If you're like not experienced with looking at it, it's very hard to properly like play some of the flow patterns, play some of the overlappy kind of triangle streams, and that stuff can really catch anybody off guard, no matter how good they are.
I guess when it comes to like Nomad 2s, it's oftentimes a bit of a comfort pick for a lot of players. Not only because I guess they might be playing a lot of that in solo, but also just that flow aim style when you're really locked in. It's a good way to just keep your focus on check. Some maps, you really have to try to keep focused on things like low approach rate maps, which is the first pick in this matchup. But number 2, you can lock in, just be completely focused on all the notes coming at you. But then when you have that 1/3 switch up in between, you have to sort of switch gears. And some players really struggle to get that adjustment from, you know, just locking in on the flow aim to having to just all of a sudden snap to things. It's a weird 1/3. So to see that in there is quite interesting. It might make that map a bit more enticing for some players and less for others. But it's open here. We could see it today. It could be a bit of a toss-up between these two, that no mod 2. But it's also quite stamina heavy, which means maybe a lean towards Malice.
I think if we see it picked by anybody, I think you'll see it picked by fiaee. Because I think MALISZEWSKI's priorities right now, the mod 4, the mod 5, Hard Rock True, and potentially DT3. At least for the start of the match. Because DT3,
I think
DAR is...
sorry to cut you off. I think we're about to start that. I think it might be time. It is time. We are ready to go. And here we go. The first map of the COE 1v1 tournament. It is time. Hidden 2 Crescendo, mapped by Happy30, a remap of his classic map from 2009. And immediately, a very early miss there from fiaee, but this map's rather long. Plenty of time to bed into the style. And there's a miss from Malice as well, so pretty much even.
Everybody just getting their first couple misses, just getting used to the map. Obviously, they were sitting for a little while. They did get a couple of bonus warm-up time just to adapt to the production issues. However, a little early lead for MALISZEWSKI.
I think the score bars at the bottom are a little bit broken.
The score bars are frozen.
Yeah, but at the moment,
Okay,
yeah,
but he does have the combo leads and the accuracy, so I assume he also has the lead.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident saying that Malice is in the lead here. Of course, we are on OC Laser, so scoring's a bit different to what you may be used to in things like the OS World Cup that's on Stable Score V2. Points, I guess, to really hone in on is accuracy is incredibly important in laser scoring. So much of your score, almost 50% of it, is on that accuracy. So if you're low on that ac, you really struggle, and you really have to combo game extremely hard to overcome that. fiaee had about 300 combo there, but dropped it at the moment. I'm pretty confident Malice is in the lead here with the AC and the combo lead there early on. But decent AC from fiaee still, 97.6. Not far off there from Malice, so keeps his head in the game here so far.
As he does find a miss, however, fiaee will trade shortly after. I think his starting combo was a little bit better, as I just assume what his score is like 100k higher maybe. About now, like 1% act lead and the combo lead at the start. He does find another break, however MALISZEWSKI will soon follow.
I think looking at it, yeah, I'm pretty confident Malice is in the lead at the moment. But I don't think fiaee's that far off, honestly. This is his first pick, though, so it was an opening gambit he's going for, and it's not looking like it's working. Yeah, it's always going to be a risk to pick into MALISZEWSKI. I can see why fiaee picked it with the score lead, but I think he might just be getting a little bit outplayed on this one to open things up.
Oh, they both miss at the end of that stream, heading towards the spinners, so combos fully reset, as the slow part would have given them a little bit more of a buffer, either to build up that lead or to claw it back. However, with the accuracy lead and the early combo lead for MALISZEWSKI, I think he will get a point, the first break point of many to come in this week. And fiaee, finding a break on the slow part as well. Will not help.
Yeah. I mean, this map is very overlap heavy. I guess a lot of the difficulty comes in dealing with those flow aim patterns and the spacing, but there are plenty of deceptive overlaps in this as well. Those stops and starts, catching out both of these two. It's a spicy one to open it up, but you can see the comfort in the error rate from both of them. Because 97.8 on this, ain't no slouch, man. fiaee's putting out a very good score on this. But MALISZEWSKI, he is the seed 1 for a reason, he's the champion for a reason, and nearly 99% on this is so good, by the way. I'm confident this is a pretty high score for this. We won't see much higher than this from anyone playing. Prove me wrong. But this is a great start from Malice.
Absolutely. And his accuracy is just creeping closer and closer to that 99%. Got a little bit of time to practice the map, however, it's doing extremely impressive, and this has got to be a message for anybody that's looking at this, having their match, or being potentially facing facing MALISZEWSKI in the bracket potentially, like their side of the bracket. So 700k for MALISZEWSKI, 600k for fiaee, a little bit under 100k points difference. So first break point goes to MALISZEWSKI, and fiaee will have to play MALISZEWSKI's pick next.
Yep, so that's the perfect start here for our champion so far. Immediately into that break point in this best of 11, so first to 6. Malice with a whole pool to peruse. Do you reckon we're going to be seeing some tapping abuse come out from him?
Honestly, considering MALISZEWSKI banned 2 tapping maps, I think his point of view and his strategy going into the match is I'm going to out-control fiaee, and if he picks reading or hidden into me, I don't care. So I'm going to guess that Gengaozo Foon might be next, or perhaps we're going to see something like Nomad 1, Nomad 2, or Nomad 4, his Protect. So Nomad 1.
There it is. Nomad 1 alert right into it. And certainly knowing the Polish team from the World Cups, they are one of the teams that are not afraid to get stuck into that Nomad 1. So immediately getting into some demon aim here. 8.1 stars, I want to say. It's over 8 stars, I know that for sure. A custom map here for the tournament. And this is, well, we're looking at, I think it's about 210-ish BPM aim, but it's near enough screen jumps at points in this. Yeah. Incredibly nasty stuff.
I think from what I heard backstage, this map is very approachable, has a lot of the like default skill set that people are really invested in at the moment, which is high-end aim. So we're going to be seeing a lot of high-end scores. Let's see if we see an FC on this sort of map, because any FC on land setting, amazing. And I think this is one of the most likely maps to actually get it.
I reckon, yeah. I mean, maybe looking at some of the other maps in this pool, perhaps. I think any FCs on any of these maps in this pool would be news to me. But I guess we have the players on hand to do it, and certainly MALISZEWSKI is no stranger to pulling out crazy scores on aim maps on LAN. Done it many a time, and for his first pick, we'll see what he's got in the back. Of course, it is his first matchup, but meaning there was still going to be a little bit of adjustment here and there. So certainly some high scores on this right out of the gate would show supreme confidence.
Dear Lord, what is going on with the scores at the bottom?
Oh, they are going.
It's okay. Everybody starting off the map quite well. MALISZEWSKI with a very good SS at the start. Hopefully he gets to keep that up as long as possible. Meanwhile, fiaee finding a couple more act drops. However, never mind, he will find the first combo break of this map.
Get how long this is. Is the length on there?
It's it says 160, so it's roughly like a little bit under 3 minutes.
Yeah, just under 3 minutes then. So it's not super long.
Yeah, no.
All in.
Like we're already around 2/3 or 1/3 of the map, 2/3 of the map remaining.
Nice recovery though from fiaee. Got that early miss, but he's doing well now on the big screen jumps here. Gets another break though. On the other side though, nary a 100 to be seen though, so far from MALISZEWSKI.
Jesus. Getting to roughly around the halfway point of the map, and still flawless. Meanwhile, fiaee finding another combo break will not help. I believe it might be past the point of no return, as MALISZEWSKI still holding a very impressive score. Going into the break, still holding a double letter grade. Let's not specify which.
Nope. Nope, don't do it. I mean, you might have said this is one of the more doable maps, but look at these screen jumps at this BPM. There goes the SS. We can say it now.
All right.
That's a slider end, I
The
think.
combo's still holding, though.
Yeah, he hasn't missed yet. Look at these patterns.
Gee.
Oh! No FC allowed. That was incredible, though, from MALISZEWSKI. Absolutely slaying those back and forth, those screen jumps at this BPM. Another break there, but the job is surely done, Dada.
Well, fiaee, not a bad score, not a bad accuracy. However, what can you do? What can you really do?
Not a lot. You just have to sort of stand and applaud that. Holding SS for half of this map. A little bit of warm-up, a little bit on stage to play, but not long at all. And already, MALISZEWSKI means business. That was great stuff there from MALISZEWSKI. 2-0 now for our defending champion on the No Mod 1. And getting some aim warm-up in there as well, leading into the rest of this matchup. Looking pretty good there.
I now see why fiaee banned Hard Rock 1 and Hidden 1, the more aimy maps of the pool, because I also wouldn't want to play any more picks like that.
No, just get the aim out of here. I think we saw the score there as well. MALISZEWSKI got 0 100s. It was a slider end he dropped halfway through. 4 miss.
Right.
Nothing else.
Slider end 100, right around a 250k score lead for MALISZEWSKI, getting almost 850k on that laser scoring. Obviously, a couple of people are going to be slightly less familiar with it. However, imagine a 600k as like a 350 score V2, and like an 850 as like a 700 score V2, roughly 700k. So that's the kind of difference we're talking about here. Like it's it looks small, but if you're used to tournaments on stable right now, pretty big difference.
Yeah, the scaling is very different. It sort of scales very quickly up to about 500k or so, and then it starts to taper off because of the way the score is calculated. But certainly, on this pool, if you're looking at anything above 800k, is very, very good considering the difficulty of this pool. So anything above there, I think, is incredibly commendable from any of these players, even with the level we've got. No Mod 3. Yeah, first death. And this is a map I'm sure both these two are very familiar with. It's a very popular one.
Very popular tournament pick, very controlly, high BPM ult would be my first guess to, or not my first guess, but like my first description of the map would be that kind of Russian style map by Aishiteru. Would be closely equivalent to the modern day kind of like Russian alt mapper as people like Mirage and Johnson came before him. But yeah, we're immediately getting into it as the scoreboard is also a little bit bugged again, but we will handle it.
We'll keep an eye on it. This one I think is going to be much closer than that other one. fiaee on No Mod Troll is very strong, but this is also an incredibly hard control map and a high tempo for what it is. Quite long as well. Nearly 4 minutes there, so a lot of consistency needed for it as well. Gonna try and stem the tide. It's 2-0 at the moment to MALISZEWSKI.
Now, I don't know whether this is slightly early map nerves, or whether just the adaptation period took a little while for fiaee, but transitioning from that very snappy aim pick to what is essentially just a fully flow aim check, No Mod 3 will make the start of the map be a little bit rougher for him. Meanwhile, MALISZEWSKI, I believe, still on the FC as of now, as fiaee has a little bit of a tough start, however, can still come back very easily.
It's a nice recovery here through the first PI from fiaee, honestly. Getting a bit of a combo together, 300 combo through this. The problem is his opponent hasn't missed yet. What do you do? There goes fiaee, drops his recovery, but a third of the way through and a couple hundreds maybe? Make that 3 for MALISZEWSKI so far, still rocking that FC through the first KI.
It's so disgusting. Like, you see these patterns just being destroyed. Like, what can you really do? This is their pick. fiaee is amazing at this skill set on his own right, but you just have a robot in front of you. Like, AI will take your jobs, AI will take your OSU maps, AI will take your tournament earnings because MALISZEWSKI, Terminator V2, coming right to you.
I mean, he is human there with some 100 drops on the slow part. Here it comes, picks up again. We're halfway through now. fiaee with no combo. It's looking dire already with with the halfway through FC from Malice. How far can he take this play though? I didn't check the leaderboard for this. I don't know how many FCs this map has. I don't know why I'm talking about FCs this early on, but look who's on my right, and I'm wondering.
Yeah. So honestly, like the delay between the spectator client and the live aspect is like 2 seconds. I can tell this to you live. But he's still holding. The map does get very hard at the end quarter of it. So we'll see if he can keep holding on. fiaee has also built a respectable amount of recovery combo. Not to forget. Oh, MALISZEWSKI does miss on this big spike near the end, but
Oh, so close from fiaee though, nearly hitting that section, and that pot is so hard. I don't know if that would have been enough to pull it back with that huge combo and ag deficit, but a valiant attempt nonetheless. MALISZEWSKI still holding 99% on that one miss, make that 2 miss now. Nevertheless though, it's another crazy play. 1.5k combo on this is absurd, and it's his first game. Assuming he gets through this, but at the moment it's his first match, and he's already putting scores like this out.
He's sending a message. For any future opponent, is like, don't pick this against me. Don't give me this map. I can very easily, like, just poop out some of these plays, and can you really match me in these sorts of environments? So it's a powerful message, strong message, as once again we see almost 850k from MALISZEWSKI and around 600k from fiaee. Not a bad score from fiaee once again, however, again, repeating this over and over again, what can you do?
What can you do? It's a 5 miss in the end from Malice. 1500 combo. Simply incredible. That's got to be top 50 on the map, surely. At least. So already right now, MALISZEWSKI is choosing violence in this matchup. It's 3-0.
And it's his pick. Does another breakpoint.
It is, yeah. fiaee trying his hand at a couple of control maps too. Very strong maps for him, and he put out some very respectable scores on those.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate for him that his opponent is MALISZEWSKI, and he decided to put out an incredible score right out of the gate.
I feel like this always happens where you see a player that's amazing in their own right, which is fiaee, and they have to face what essentially amounts to like the evil clone that's everything but slightly better. MALISZEWSKI is like the 16th version of that evil clone that's perfected all but like the very small flaws. So just having like trying to fight him head on is so hard. You need to be like a specialist of a very specific type of skill set and abuse it over and over and over again to have a big shot. And in matchups like these, where they're just competing at the same skill sets, there's not much you can do except hope and just have a high variance play where you're just getting the best you can possibly get from any of your maps and seeing MALISZEWSKI get the worst of his rolls.
There's still plenty of good maps on the board for fiaee going forward. You mentioned the Nomad 2 might be a choice. He's still got his Protect in Hidden 3, My Dearest Nightmare. There are still plenty of good maps on the board here for fiaee to make use of. MALISZEWSKI choosing now to use his Protect himself with his 3-0 lead, going into Signal, the Nomad 4, the Slider Tech map from Hell, another custom map here in the tournament as well.
Very short, very packed to the brim with very intense technical patterns. Circle Tech having a little bit of that more mechanical side of tech with slider aim as well. But this is MALISZEWSKI's bread and butter.
It is. This is what he's known for most possibly. Out of all of his many skills, Slider Tech is probably his most infamous one, other than maybe his hidden. fiaee has done so much good work on this sort of map, both in online tournaments and at LAN himself. This is a tough example of it though. Early miss there from fiaee. It's a short map. We'll see if Malice finds some chokes on this one. Will he find some struggles on this one?
Not yet, as he is still holding the full combo. fiaee has broken twice while we were just getting into the map. As we said before, it's very short, just wasting no time getting into the action, and MALISZEWSKI did not have an adaptation period. He just got straight in and got to business.
A bit of a recovery there from fiaee, and there goes FC, the FC from MALISZEWSKI. So no FC on this one, halfway through though. But I think the big point here is that accuracy. 99% on this is absurd. He's getting a few misses finally. Even a player like MALISZEWSKI will struggle on this sort of map, but 98% on this and 99% for the first half of this is something else.
A reminder, this is laser. Like, sliders, they are a little bit more lenient, but they still have the V2 element of having slider AC. So MALISZEWSKI is playing this very well as we get into the end slow part. I believe he had 2 combo drops?
I think it might have been just 2. Just 2 on this one. 93% from fiaee coming out of it. Oh, the slow slider there for Malice, as you do. You know, 93% on this. I reckon that is pretty good as well. Certainly respectable. But that is unbelievable for MALISZEWSKI. 98.8% on that. Wow.
Amazing. Again, sort of holding that 250k, 200k lead range. So in score V2 terms, that is roughly like 400, 500k depending on the score. So for those of you used to the stable tournaments at home, this is a large lead, but it's not a bad score by any means from fiaee. It's just that we have a robot on our right.
Yeah, MALISZEWSKI is playing so well in this match. He really is. fiaee is giving it a shot. Some good maps have come up for him. But MALISZEWSKI is playing so well right out of the gate. But it's not over yet. fiaee has the next pick in tow. He's still got his protect.
He'll pick his protect.
It's gotta be, surely.
Surely. If he doesn't pick his protect and he gets break pointed, then MALISZEWSKI has the pick and he can finish the match. So he has to pick hidden 3, as we very quickly see here. Hidden 3, My Dearest Nightmare. Sort of a speedier, more awkward-ish kind of map. It's weirdly technical, but not in the usual way that you see, where it just has a lot of buzz sliders. As I was so dearly reminded by Dan Bubbleman over backstage, this is laser, so buzz sliders specifically, the ending of this map is going to be a lot more friendly. Like, it might look disgusting, perhaps, to a stable player. However, buzz sliders have a lot more leniency, so they won't be just facing combo drops every 2 seconds if they're late.
No, it's much more forgiving, this sort of map, and it does open up some nice pooling opportunities for maps that maybe aren't very well, usable in stable. With buzz sliders being incredibly brutal on stable, it opens up a few more choices where you can sort of have that in the map for like an act challenge or just a timing challenge, and let the other parts of the map shine through, which is nice. So we get to see this. Last year's tiebreaker, I think, was a good shout of that as well, because it was million PP, and that map was a nightmare on stable with buzz sliders.
Yeah.
But on laser, everything else is the problem, not really the sliders.
Right, as we're getting into the match here, starting off My Dearest Nightmare by RN, also featured artist, I believe. This is 3 minutes and 30 seconds roughly. A little bit lower of an AR than you'd probably want for this kind of BPM, 231. However, the speed might not be the biggest challenge, as you see a lot of these more like funky patterns going on into the map, as it hasn't even really started yet, but fiaee already on a pretty interesting accuracy, struggling to adapt to the BPM change as the song starts. MALISZEWSKI is not too high on accuracy himself, however he is recovering. Both players are recovering. Nobody missing on that first wiggle section, As you can see, this map looks very, very disgusting. If you're looking at just comfort levels, this is not comfortable. This is Weird City. And nobody yet finding a break.
Combo game strong for both of them. The accuracy though, 5% is huge. And fiaee drops his FC. No longer does he have that combo game on his side, and MALISZEWSKI still holding that full combo. That accuracy as well, doing so much good work here for our Seed 1. And there's the break. And look at those patterns though. Those sort of switchback patterns, they kind of go in a circle, like a spiral. It's a horrible pattern on hidden, especially when you have a high density. And it caught out Malice there.
They can both trip you up in reading and in the actual flow aim itself, but fiaee is recovering. His AC is on the lower end, and Laser really doesn't like that as he does find another break. MALISZEWSKI holding a little bit more combo as we head into another intense section.
Break there from fiaee. We're halfway through now. MALISZEWSKI with another big combo and AC lead. Another drop there from fiaee. He's finding some issues here, and Malice finding none such. 500 combo now, going through these bursts so well. Gets a bit of a mistap, I think, there. Tapping a little bit off, dropping on that burst. But surely he's built up a solid lead at this point. Yeah, look at that. 80k right now is pretty big. Let's see how far he can get with that. fiaee, if he holds on through the rest, Malice has some issues. Maybe he can pull this one back, but he's hoping for something on the other side at this point.
He's hoping for his PC to crash at this point. I think it's really unfortunate, but the accuracy, especially in laser scoring, if you have like a 91, your accuracy is just gonna tank your score so much. As we're gonna head into the final tough section of the map, and it's a doozy. You're gonna see a lot of patterns that on stable you would immediately assume are unplayable, but they aren't.
I mean, it still looks pretty nasty though, even when you don't take out those bud sliders. The streams coming out though, those back and forth doubles, the wiggles. MALISZEWSKI hits those, he drops on the sliders though. And that is gotta be the point. 97.8 in the end for MALISZEWSKI. It's another accuracy masterclass here from our champion. Another crazy score from him. 5 miss on that.
That is just, again, not real. If that's fiaee's protect, and even on the protect on a skill set that he's not like 100% known for, a little bit more of that speedy element, he's just shredding it. So 5-0 to MALISZEWSKI. He has the potential match point, and he has the pick. So that's not a good sign if you are indeed fiaee. However, well, I was gonna look on the bright side.
Crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have happened. However, he does have both the K2G Star maps still left. He has no Machu. Even if fiaee does manage a break point, MALISZEWSKI still has very good potential picks remaining in the match. So
yeah, you do look at the remaining maps, and you do see quite a few there that are MALISZEWSKI pilled. If fiaee can break point this next one, though, he's got the No Mod 2, which I reckon is pretty good for fiaee to try and get some momentum going here. But you know, one step at a time. It's MALISZEWSKI's pick. fiaee needs to find a break point to stay in this tournament. It's single elimination, so he needs to win this to stay in the tournament. But MALISZEWSKI's got the pick of the litter here. Where could he go? Some very spicy maps left here. That Let's Jump is probably the spiciest of the lot.
Man.
And that's where he's going, Dada.
If there's any map in this DT pool that fits MALISZEWSKI's playstyle to a T, it's Let's Jump. It's a more awkward selection from the other two. It doesn't have as much speed. It has a weird AR. It has a lot of flow aim, a lot of like that old ulti element that MALISZEWSKI is so good at, as we've seen on No Mod 3. And as we've discussed previously, fiaee is not that confident in the DT pool, and I think this is the map that if you're not that confident in DT, despite the other maps being mechanically harder, this might be the hardest one for you because of that AR, because of all the awkwardness, and let's see what they've got cooking for us in both PCs, as in a bit we will head on to the potential final pick of the match.
Well, we'll soon see. This map, I mean, I don't know if it's just a skill issue. I'm not a high AR player, but this just seems like the hardest map in the pool, full stop. I don't know how close people have gotten to like full combos on this at all, but this map is very infamous for a long time as a God mode hard rock map for many years, but here we are seeing it as DT. Times have changed all right. We'll see how these two do. It's also one of the longest maps in the pool. It might potentially be the longest with DT. Map's like 7 minutes or so, no mod. So not only do you need to be able to deal with this AR 10.7.
It is rough, and 10.7, like, how many players that play tournaments that go to like these quote-unquote normal qualifier pools, they like play 10.3, they sometimes play 10.5, 10.7, you almost never see.
No, it's very rare. 10.5 tends to get put in as like a high approach rate reading slot maybe in some pools. So 10.7 is getting very specialized. An early miss there from MALISZEWSKI, but I reckon we're going to see a few on this one, judging by the map. We haven't even got to the hard part yet, but a nice little lead there here for MALISZEWSKI. The accuracy down for fiaee, so he's going to be struggling to build the score up on that side. That deficit on the AC is huge on Laser, but plenty of time to go yet on this one.
It's absolutely the accuracy, and honestly, a couple of years ago, this is like a pass map. This is something that you were just hoping you'd pass, get a cool like Elysian style DT pass on the leaderboard, and just flex to your friends. But now you gotta play it, and you gotta like get a good score on it. fiaee finding a lot of breaks on this more intense section. MALISZEWSKI will find a couple of breaks himself, however, it's not as many, and his accuracy is almost 10% better. This is not looking good if you are French, if you're rooting for fiaee, but such is the fate of the 16th seed.
Yeah, that section we just saw there with those high space BPM streams, you know, you're looking at 210 something BPM with that sort of spacing on this sort of tempo. Even with the BPM, the density's still quite low. Both players getting quite a few breaks through that section. There's another one like that coming up later, one that's even harder than that. So the lead built up now, 100k halfway through for MALISZEWSKI. It's looking like the path to the quarterfinals is set, laid out, ready for him. He just needs to take it. They see at the break where they are, and fiaee must be looking at that, and his heart must be dropping because he knows he is in a lot of trouble.
It's a 15-second break, 10 seconds of DT, 10 seconds to accept your fate.
Oh, the slider, as you do. We were talking a bit earlier about, you know, adjusting to land setups, and it can take you a lot of time to do so. You hop on stage, get your setup going, you get maybe 10 minutes of warm-up. Obviously, this matchup, we had a bit of a delay, so a little bit more than that from Alice, but even so, jumping on this first matchup and the level he's already playing at, that has to send shivers down the spines of the remaining players who may be thinking they want to challenge for his crown, because he's only going to get stronger from here, you'd think.
And honestly, I hate to be that guy, but I feel that MALISZEWSKI is very favored in both the KTG maps against a lot of players, and he didn't touch those.
No. Yep. There's no information like given away on those sorts of maps. And of course, as this tournament goes on, that's going to be quite important. You can see maybe some players might not want to go into a map just to make sure that there's no fumbles later on if they get through. This part, the hardest part of the map, look at the spacing on this. And look at it's so low density, even though it's 210. A big chunk of that hit by Malice. And fiaee getting this AR, getting the selfie. Good sport. Why not? It's been a pleasure getting fiaee on the stage here. Unfortunately, though, it is going to be the end of the road here for our French goat here in fiaee. MALISZEWSKI ending it with 97.6. Maybe 97.7 might not be enough notes left, but 97.6. another masterclass here from our champion. He is here to defend his crown, and he is not messing around. The Polish GOAT, MALISZEWSKI, is into the quarterfinals of the COE 1v1 tournament. And cleanly done to 6-0 against an incredible player in fiaee. GG's. And we saw a good set of maps there. Not much tapping, though, from MALISZEWSKI, but plenty of control, and he's looking ready right off the bat.
He's looking very, very, very good. I love the content from fiaee also. Taking the selfie at the end of the map. Just got 6-0'd, but it's good. It's fine. We are happy that we made it here in the first place.
That's what it's all about.
Shoutouts. So, you have the headset. You have the production. Should we interview the players?
Okay. Yeah, get going. Get a little word from our players to see what's up.
All right.
Right, let's get this off.
Okay, there we go. Right, let's see what's going on then. Let me get up and stretch my legs. Oh. Step on over to our victor of the first match, Mr. MALISZEWSKI. How are you doing, sir? Congrats on your win. Very well played. What are you feeling after that one? What are your thoughts?
I'm feeling great. Yeah, I was actually, this is my first day playing also, because yesterday I came back really late, and I was supposed to practice the pool, but I didn't. So I had to wake up at like 8 a.m. to go here to the venue and play the map pool. So yeah, I am like warmed up, like three hours of gameplay.
Well, looking at some of the scores you put out there, you're looking already in good shape. Congratulations on your win, mate, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
All right, fiaee. I don't know really what to say. Obviously, didn't look that good for the score, but how was it playing on stage, having a little bit of fun, taking that selfie at the end of the map? How was it?
It was really fun. I'm really nervous though. I never shake that much in my entire life, but that was such a great experience. I really liked it.
That's great. Any last words you have to have for the Brabanthallen audience?
I don't have any last words except good luck to everyone in the tournament. Thank you to everyone here for watching this match, and good luck to MALISZEWSKI in the rest of the brackets.
All right, thank you very much, fiaee. Round of applause. So, Doomsday, that's it for the first match. What match will we be seeing next up on stage?
I believe the next matchup, is involving our very own Bubble Man, and he's taking on Skiller next up in the round of 16. As far as I know, yeah, there it is. Yeah, Bubble Man versus Skiller. It is the UK legend himself versus the Swedish legend himself. And that one should be a spicy one. That's a matchup I'm looking forward to a lot. So I imagine we'll be getting stuff switched over pretty quick, considering there was a little bit of a delay. But it's been cool to be able to just shoot the wind with you, Dada, and have a good chat with you, actually. It was quite cool. And thanks again for the cast of the match as well.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure casting with you, Dooms. And look out, everybody, for what should be a really good match between Seed 3 Bubbleman, Seed 14 Skilla. They have a bit of history together, both European legends of the game and both extremely underrated at points. Bubbleman, now the old man. Skilla, one of the best upcoming players that's been building up for a while. So have fun waiting for that. And that'll be us. That'll be it for us here. And thank you very much for watching.